Lesson 5.3 Combining Worksheets. In this lesson, you will learn how to combine worksheets to create a more complex report. Back to Vectorworks. Open exercise 5.3 from your exercise folder. In this last exercise, we want to look at how we can combine reports together to make a bigger or longer report. We already have one here called Windows. If you have a look, this site plan also has some objects on it. These objects are in fact hardscape objects. Here they are here. Let's just zoom in and we'll have a look at those. Hardscape objects are a landscape object. They're a 2D, 3D object. And I wanted to show you how we can look for those kinds of objects. So each of those is a hardscape object. You can see on my object info palette. It's got the word hardscape. It's got some information about it. It's got the name of it. These, I think, nearly all have the same name. So just to have a look at this, I'll call this concrete paving. So what we want to learn to do is to create a report that will look for all of my hardscapes and put them together as a combination, but then put them together with another report. So it's the same technique we use for creating the windows. So Tools, Reports, and Create Report. So it's a custom report. These are going to be my hardscape objects. Or you could call it paving. You don't have to say that it's hardscapes. So we're going to look for objects with a record, and the record we're looking for is hardscape. So that one there. Don't forget we need to turn these off. We don't accidentally want to select or double up our counting. So what do we want? We want the name of the objects. So we can scroll down. So where's our name? Which is called hardscape name. So I need to go letter H. Let's just scroll down. Hardscape name. There it is there. Let's add that. So the first thing will be my hardscape name. The next thing we need is probably the area. So we could choose the footprint area. That'll be the overall size. We could use that. Let's add that together. We might want to also calculate the price of this. So we've got a main unit price, so we could use that. So we have a main area, main unit price. Let's add that, and then we can do a little calculation. So we do the same thing that we did with our windows. We choose our objects, we look through all of these options to see which ones we really want. And then we could summarize objects with the same hardscape name. That would be quite easy to do. We can just tick that box there, and it'll group everything that's got exactly the same name together. Let's turn that off to start with. I'll show you how to fix that later. But this is the thing I wanted to show you, how we can append this to an existing report. And we can choose either site coverage or building report, and it will stick this report at the bottom of that other worksheet. And there it is. So let's just zoom that down. And so you can see there, it's exactly the same. Now, because the columns are consistent all the way down, we actually have to pull this across to get that to see our width. We could select this, right click and format that cell and turn on text wrapping. So we could wrap our text. So things like concrete paving, we could maybe make that run across 2 lines. We could select all of these. Let's format those cells, or maybe play with the row height. And we can do the row height automatic, or we could set the row height to be a specific number of points. So I think we need to make that 20 points high. I'm just guessing at the moment to see if that fits. And you can see concrete paving doesn't quite work. Let's go back to the row height and we'll make that automatic again. Now automatic should automatically fit the concrete paving. It should spread that so that we've got the right amount. So here, because of my area, I need to move that across. And you can see I've got concrete paving and lots of hardscape objects. Now, the thing that I turned off before that I said I'll show you is this bit here where you could say summarize items. And you can see what it's done is it's gone hardscape, concrete paving, and here's my amounts. Now this one here, because they're all different sizes, what I need to do is to say summarize the values. And now it's got the total amount. So 3.1 square meters is the total amount of hardscape 1. This one is the total amount of those. So if I select one of those and I change its name from concrete So hardscape 1, this one is concrete paving, so I'm going to be a little lazy. I'm going to go copy, and I'm going to paste, which is Command V, enter. Now let's update our worksheet and see what happens. You'll notice that it took some area away from hardscape 1 and added to my concrete paving. But this is kind of cool because what we've ended up with is a total report that goes from not just my windows, but also the other parts. So let's go back to my design layer, my sheet layer, and have a look. Here it was, and you can see there it is. It's added that to my report. So we're going to change this bit here. This isn't going to be hardscape name, it's just going to be name, and this is not going to be footprint area, it's just going to be area, and click on the green tick. We'll close that. So that might be easier for us to read. But because of the alignment of these objects, you can see that we've got a rather strange alignment between this area and these areas. So that's to do with our alignment. Let's just have a look. So we'll select that. We'll format those cells, and we'll make them align to the left. Now when I close it, it should look a little better, so that all of these line up to the left, and maybe that's a little bit nicer. So that's our last exercise for this course. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you've learned quite a lot from it. I know that if you carried out all of these exercises, you would have learned quite a lot. This is the end of Module 5. In this module, you learned how to create worksheets, you learned how to format worksheets, you learned how to report objects, and you learned how to combine worksheets. This is now the end of our entire course. This was quite a long course, and you learned a lot in this course. You learned how to navigate the Vectorworks interface, you learned fundamental Vectorworks concepts, you learned basic 3D modeling concepts, you learned how Vectorworks creates drawings, you learned how to create drawings from a 3D model, you learned how to annotate drawings, you learned how to create a simple building, and you learned how to count and report objects in a project. Well, what should we do next? Well, I suggest that you work through your next course. So if you're doing architecture, have a look at my Building Information Modeling course. It's really powerful, and it goes into the nitty-gritty detail, or as the Americans say, it drills down into the detail so you understand how Vectorworks creates these wonderful building information models. If you're a landscaper, have a look at my Building Information Modeling course for landscaping. I don't think BIM, or Building Information Modeling, is just for architecture. It also includes lots of landscape concepts. And if you're just interested in the 3D modeling, don't forget I've got a 3D modeling course. But I guess the most important thing is that you should start to consider regular monthly training. That's what I offer through my learn.archoncad.com subscription. On this website you will find an unparalleled depth of information. Every month we get together for online sessions. They're interactive. I ask questions, I give you answers. You ask me a question, I give you the answer. It really is interactive. Thank you very much for attending my course. I'm Jonathan Pickup. I'll catch you online.